Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Judy. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Yvette, Naomi, Leanne, Justin, Donna, Jennifer, Gabby, Rocky, Carol Lee. Come on in. Turn your cameras on if you like. Hey, Donna. Looking good, looking good. Yay, yay, yay. Awesome, awesome. Well, my name is Jeff Howard. We're going to wait a few minutes. We have about 119 people that are signed up for tonight's webinar. We'll probably get about a half of them showing up. But remember, this is recorded, so you'll be able to revert back to it or look at it for a while. Before we start, though, kids, let's go ahead and I want you to look at the very bottom of your screen, and there is a chat button. I want you to open it up, and I'd love for everybody to just type in hi. Does everybody type in hi and where you're from? Where you're from, please. We've got Mary from Arnold, Maryland. We got California. We got Florida. White Rock, Vancouver, Sacramento, yay. Come on in, guys, come on in. Nova Scotia, pretty much from everywhere. That's awesome. Keep going, guys. Type it in, type it in. Luann from Iowa. We love Iowa. Great, awesome, awesome, awesome. Best. My name is Jeff Howard, and I'm obviously not Sarah Cooperman. She had broken her nose a while ago. Sadly, she can't breathe with it anymore. So she had to get it rebroken and reset so she can breathe because she's having issues with it, yeah. But she will be here this weekend for Mania. So if you haven't signed up for Mania, please sign up. Still open to signing up. Certifications are still available. And Sarah will be back at Mania, and next week she's in charge of the webinars. But I appreciate you being here tonight. Before we go on, though, I want you guys to look at the reaction button, which is over here, and if you open it up, you're going to see a thumbs up. If you have any questions or anything, you can always do a thumbs up. But what I love is if you type in a question in the chat box. If you have any questions during the night that you have regarding business or anything we're talking about or in general, please type it in. I'll address it, or I'll have one of my panelists address it as well. But right now, with the reaction button open, I would love for you to give me a thumbs up if you're a personal trainer at the moment. Give me a thumbs up if you do personal training. Okay. Not a lot. Good. You're right in the right place. My panel, where are your thumbs up? Okay, we got good. Now, next, I want now a heart if you're here because you're interested in becoming a personal trainer. If you're good. And that's what tonight's really about. I've got an amazing panel with you that I have talked to for the last 30 minutes. And they have a plethora of knowledge and advice to give. And so I'm going to introduce them quickly, but I'd really like to get into the topics. First of all, we got our Alex Bryce. He's the co-founder and head coach at Electrum Performance. He's the director of performance at, say it, Alex.
Fujitaro.
Yeah, don't know even what that means. Founder and head coach at Strength Care Consultants, and is a certified strength and conditioning specialist from the National Strength and Conditioning Association. We have our beautiful Natalie. I'm going to just say Thomas, Natalie, I'm sorry.
All good.
Is the international #1 best-selling author of 11 books on success and wellness. She has empowered over 100,000 audience members and thousands of clients internationally to get rid of their negative self-talk. Wow, I bet you were very busy over COVID. And then last but definitely not least, we've got our new friend who is Devon Livingston, is the creator of Loose and Tone Fitness, a full-service personal training and group coaching business, a certified strength and conditioning coach, and a Talent Hack Spaces ambassador and master coach. That sounds interesting. Devon was driven to enter the fitness industry after observing the needs for more accessible fitness options within his local community, which is awesome. Before I introduce myself, you got to tell me what that word means. Bryce, Alex.
Fujitaro, it means someone who practices Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay, got it. And my name's Jeff Howard, and I do the Group X certification, the Aqua certification, the yoga certification, and I've just been around way too long. And that's all I have. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, let's dive right in. So a lot of you that are listening in, I know that you are maybe doing Group X, or with COVID, the gyms have just opened up. and you're thinking about going into personal training, and I think this is the time to do it, guys. There is a need. There is a need. And so the first question I'm going to present is, how do I get started in the personal training business? And I'd like to give that first to Alex, if you don't mind.
Sure. So one of the unique and also challenging things about the fitness industry is that there are many different paths that you can take in order to find success. And some of that is going to be individualized. Of course, it certainly helps a lot to have some sort of kinesiology or exercise science degree, as well as certifications, through SCW or otherwise. But anyone can have a certification, and the true experience that you need can only be earned by doing. So there have never been more opportunities to intern or to volunteer at different facilities, especially as the country is sort of opening up again and requiring that manpower as people are coming back to gyms. Unfortunately, many of those are unpaid, so can't really speak to that financially, but that experience is priceless in terms of being able to really understand where you want to go within the fitness industry to find your niche.
Okay, and Devon, how did you like to tell people how they can get started in the personal training field?
Hello, everybody. My name is Devon Livingston again. I think the most effective way to getting started is figuring out what is your specialty. Figuring out if you enjoy speaking to a lot of people at a time, try to get a group together in your local area. Depending on where you are, it's warming up. See if you can pull some friends, some close friends, some family members, people that you're already comfortable with. And get them outside for a workout, and you try and that experience will help you to develop your craft, and then over time you definitely will get a niche. But I know there's a lot of people just starting out, so I just want to give you some tangible items on how to get started and who you get started with.
Natalie, any ideas, any suggestions?
Well, I guess very often the common mistake that we all do is, well, you get a certification and now you're ready to start your business, and you're like, okay, before I get my first clients, I need a website. Oh, and then I need to have all my social media set up, and then I need to have a studio, and then I need this, and then I need that, and then it's 3 months later you haven't had a client. So the way to get started is get a client, one client. That's it. You only need one client, and with one client you start and you get to practice, and then you get referrals, and then you start advertising, and you get a testimonial from your one client, and then you keep going like this. But don't wait until every duck is set in a row and then everything is good before you get started. So just get started, get one client, train your neighbor, find someone, and then go ahead, get started.
I love that. I love that. And for me, I've always believed in this. Even if you're not comfortable teaching group exercise, teach a cycling class, get certified, teach cycling. And when you walk into the room, when you're a Group X teacher, you're going to walk in with a personal training t-shirt on. You get in front of the class, you let them see it. You don't say anything. It's a subconscious cell. Take the shirt off and do your stuff. That way they know you're a personal trainer, and they're going to come up to you and say, oh, you do personal training. Remember this, my Group X people. They're already your tribe. They want that one-on-one time with you, okay? Word of mouth is the key. Word of mouth is the key. And I would also love for you guys to start teaching more than one person. Get friends, two people that are together. They'll feel more comfortable sometimes training together. But what my panel is saying exactly it. Dive in. Before we started, I asked how each of them got into the business, because I think it's interesting that most of us mentored at first. And they started at everybody pretty much in high school started. Tell them your background real quick, Alex, how you started into the business.
Sure. I was never someone who changed their major 5 times type of thing. At 3-4 years old, I was telling my mom I wanted big muscles and would go out and try to pick rocks up in the woods and everything. So I declared, from 15 years old, and grew up right next to UConn. So that's where I went to undergrad and was able to start interning both in the lab and in the weight room very early, and then wound up getting my undergraduate degree in strength and conditioning from UConn, and then a master's in exercise science from University of Kansas. And I'll also be returning to school in the fall to get a doctorate in physical therapy. So I chose to really go the very academic route, working in D1 weight rooms and kinesiology labs, in addition to earning certifications and then getting out in the private sector.
I love that. I love it. Knowledge is amazing. I love knowledge. Devon, how did you start in the business?
So I got started right after high school. I was a student. I was an athlete in high school. I got certified the summer after graduating high school, and I saw, like I said, like you said mentioned earlier, I saw a need in my community for it. So after working at a couple different corporate gyms over the course of maybe 2 or 3 years, I was at different gyms all over. I'm from New York, so if anyone knows about either Bally Total Fitness, which is now 24-hour fitness, or Export Fitness, and even New York Health and Racket. Like I said, I saw a need for it, which then led me to start doing group classes. I can train a lot of people for a lower price, at the time, and that was my way of being able to get in front of more people and generate those referrals, like Natalie said, and get more testimonials. So that was my route of doing it. But I studied athletic training in college. But yeah, I dove right in. I put myself through college, and by doing personal training. But then again, I saw the need, and that's where the business and entrepreneurial mindset came in. So we could talk about that later as well. But that was my niche, and I found that, and that's how I started.
How did you start in the business?
Fitness instructors. I was teaching for Good Life Fitness in Canada, and realized my clients would eat crap. So I needed to become a nutrition and wellness specialist too. And then when I started working one-on-one with those clients, they said, do you do personal training as well? And I said, well, give me a few months. I'll go do my certification. I'll be right back. So I did my CanFit Pro certification, and started doing private one-on-one coaching with my clients as well. I still do teach fitness classes, but now I don't do personal training anymore. So I still do the group exercise classes now.
I love that. So then the question, I guess, is this, guys. So if you're in a box facility, and let's say you're teaching Group X now, and you want to laterally go into PT, there's going to be different rules. And normally a lot of the clubs, I think, do a percentage. And I've always heard it be, depending on your seniority, whether it be a 60-40 split where they get 40 and you get 60. And then everybody on the panel kind of is doing their own thing as well. So I would love to address the difference between maybe doing it in a box club and then doing it on your own, because I know that a lot of box clubs will not let you take the clients privately as a PT. They look at it as their property, okay? So let's talk really quickly then. Let's just kind of address box club, private, and what the pay structure, what you think it is, and the benefits of it. Alex?
Sure. So, there definitely are pros and cons to both sides. If you're in more of a box or corporate scenario, or something that's very much a chain, yeah, it is really tricky that they're sort of viewing those clients as theirs, because they're sort of feeding you the leads. If you're not super comfortable with sales, or if you don't have any business background, because just because you know something about exercise science doesn't mean or fitness doesn't mean you know anything about running a fitness business, kind of like Natalie had said. So it can be a great place to start, knowing that your profit margin might not be as solid, but at least sort of gaining experience and being able to be fed leads actively. And then, can you convert them from their initial sessions or things along those lines? Because then when you do venture off into your own, there's no safety net. Yes, all the money is yours, but all of the responsibilities are yours as well. Millions of little things that wind up taking up more time than you think, where then your actual knowledge of training becomes secondary to being able to keep the lights on and keep the place afloat. So there are, definitely ways to be successful on both sides.
Good answer. Good answer. Devon?
So in regards to corporate clubs and being, solopreneur, being totally independent, I think definitely for me, I can only speak from my experience, but definitely for me, learning how a corporate club manages their trainers down to their time schedule, their pay schedule, will allow someone that ultimately has the idea to start their own business, how to do that for themselves, right? Because I didn't go to school for business. I went to school to be a better, to be better at the anatomy of someone and knowing how to train them properly and biomechanics and how the body moves, right? So just like how I learned that skill, I then had to learn how to shift into being a business owner. And I could definitely say, the experience that I got from being in a corporate gym, helped me to do that. Now, some people, I think, to be totally honest and frank, not everyone needs to own their own business, you know, and a lot of people like the security of working for a club. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. So I just want to put that out there to everyone. If you feel like you need to, you know, you want to work just for a club, this may be a second source of income for you, or you just have a love and passion for it, you know, definitely go ahead and do that. You know, that's totally, there needs to be some people in the club with it. You know, not everyone needs to run their own business. But if you do have that, you know, burning desire, like I want something different, I think that people should get the necessary knowledge nowadays from a club, and then use that to segue into owning their own business. But if you don't have that information already, that experience, you should definitely go that route.
And Natalie, because of what you're into now, can you explain how they can renegotiate then? Or like once they prove, I mean, we're so afraid to ask for money in our field. So once they get going, talk a little bit more like how the wording should be and what they should, you know, they should realize their value.
Yeah. So what happens is that there's this enormous limiting belief that we don't make money in the fitness industry, right? Like that, the fitness industry. And I had this voice telling me when I was starting, and like, I was working full time, a different job in sales, right? Because the voice was telling me, what, you want to do what? Like full time? No. Keep your full time job because you're never going to make it, right? So we all have this limiting belief. And somehow that limiting belief got very, very loud when the pandemic hit, because when the gym closed and the employees became entrepreneurs, because if they wanted to keep going and wanting to go online, if their facility was not offering online courses, they wanted to maintain their clients, and they all started to become business entrepreneurs. Well, let me tell you something. I love what Devon said, that if you don't want to become an entrepreneur, you don't have to. Just wait it out. Go work at the coffee shop during the while the gyms are open, are closed, and when they reopen, you'll go back. That's fine. But don't believe that you are not able to do it, that you were not born with the gene or something, because you have learned the insertion and the attachment of all the muscles in the body. You know how the fascia works. That's hard. Learning where to click on Zoom to see a client, that's easy. So don't let that limiting belief that you're not a business person keep you from making money, because it's not that complicated. And there's so many resources. There's so many people that are successful making money. And now there's so many resources online on how to actually make money with your own personal business, that there's tons of stuff that you can do. There's free webinars, there's a lot of free resources. So like just SCW has tons and tons of resources for you. So don't let your I'm not an entrepreneur keep you from becoming one. If you want to, you can. That's not that hard.
I love that.
I just want to answer Sharon's question really quickly. She said, I'm not good at sales. How can I improve that component? So two things I would definitely recommend. Number one, you will have referrals from other clients. So your top clients are going to be your biggest your biggest attractors, right? They're going to get other clients in for you, in the door. You know, they say that if you don't like something, you'll tell 3 people, but if you do, you might tell 1. So if you have 3 clients and each one of those 3 clients tells 1 client, now you have 6. Now, if each one of those 6, we duplicate this, we can go down the line, next thing you know, you have a whole network of clients. So that's the first thing. As you begin to build more clientele in your program, you know, you're good at your training because you learned all about the fascia and everything that Natalie talked about. Now you'll have more results, and those results will become testimonials, you know? So one of the things I've been really good with is actually being able to market those results. And I think, you know, something that everyone should tap into, we're not gonna go too deep into it right now, but using your social media platform is free marketing, so you don't have to spend tons of money on a website. But once you have those clients and those results, you'll have testimonials that will bring in the sales. Those happy customers will also bring sales in from referrals.
I love all that. And you guys remember, the gyms are opening back up. And so with them being open and you were maybe hired as a Group X teacher, let them know you want to do personal training as well. In Louisville, when I negotiated I wanted a 40-hour week. And so I did X amount of classes, and I did personal training the other, and I got insurance, and I got health benefits and everything else because I became an employee, okay? Like I said, they're going to negotiate you with a percentage. It's normally a 60-40, sometimes it's 50-50 if it's at a box club. But you can also renegotiate that once you produce some income for them. Don't forget, we have to treat it like a business. Every job you can renegotiate after 3 months, or you get evaluated, renegotiate. And guess what? Don't be afraid to leave if you need to leave. Social media, we kind of hit on it. We're not going to hit a little bit more, but you're going to always post what you're doing and where you are. So when you do leave and go to Bryce's gym or Devon's gym or Natalie's gym, your client knows where you're going, but you have to post and let them know where you're going. Heather asked a question, which is interesting, and I kind of love this. It's she's been in the industry over 20 years. I have my own personal business, doing a lot of virtual training. I would love to build how could she build her business further? And I think a lot of us have hit on word of mouth, testimonials. Natalie, what do you like to suggest for that? How could she build her business after being in it for so long?
Yeah. So I find that business-wise, the first step, if we're talking about expanding with social media, is to have a home base where you can bring back people. So see your social media platform as a coffee shop where you go hang out with people and meet people, but you need to bring them back home. So somehow you need to have an offer that you would put on social media for people to say, hey, I want to download this. So I'm talking about a funnel marketing. So when we are on social media, we don't necessarily want to tell people, oh, hire me, I'm a personal trainer, and sign up for a $2,000 package with me. You're just on social media. Like, you don't go in a coffee shop and on the first time you see somebody, you drop down on your knee and you offer them a ring. Like, they're going to be, oh, you're weird. So that's not what you want to do on social media. You want to offer them something interesting. So on all your marketing, it needs to redirect to your own website so that somehow you have a way for them to give you their phone number if you were dating them, if you had met them at the coffee shop. You have to go back to the coffee shop every single time you want to see them because you don't have their number. So you need to have their email somehow, or their phone number, so you can text them, so then you can offer them something. And people won't just give you their interest just like that. So you need to give them a reason. And the way I do it, when I do my marketing campaign on social, I work with fear, I work with gain, and I work with logic. So a fear campaign would be like, are you tired of not fitting in your little black dress? Or are you tired of this sore back or whatever? Do you want to wake up and feel energized? That's a gain campaign. And a logic campaign would be, well, it's normal if you've gained weight after having kids, because our physiology changes and it's very different now. So you explain to them why it's not their fault. And then here's the key to build your following is you want to have something to download, an irresistible offer. Not sign up for my newsletter. That's not irresistible. You say, click here to download the 3 keys to get rid of your sore back. Click here to download 5 exercises you can do in 15 minutes every day. Click here to, and then they click here, and then they want to go download this, and they leave their name and email behind. And then you can start tracking your number. Now you can start to transform those social media fans into paying clients. So you need to be organized and have a way to get the names of those people. I have a friend that on Facebook, she has 100,000 people on her business page, and she had all these different communities and these different pages and these groups. Facebook shut her off. Did she have the emails of this 100,000 people? No, she didn't. She had to start over because she had not brought them back home. So too many of us, when the pandemic hit, went onto social media and we started to offer workout for free, right? So that's kind of a good idea at the beginning when we thought it would last for 3 weeks, but now we need to bring them back onto our own website and get their phone number, get their email, and bring them to your home base. Hope that helps.
And you guys, don't forget to have also, when you're doing your posts, have people share it. Your tribe wants to spread your wealth. If you ask them, share it with a friend. You have their numbers. Share this post on your social media. I do my schedule every week. I'm like, share this on your post. they will share it on their Facebook page, which then goes and spreads it even further. Alex, do you want to add anything?
Sure. I think Natalie did an amazing job of giving a big overview on how to create funnels, especially within social media, and being able to gather email addresses to to have that sort of free upsell is huge, and that's something that we've had success doing as well. At the top of the funnel is where it can be really tricky because social media is a volume game, right? It's hundreds of thousands of followers in some cases of really successful pages, and even there, they're only converting a very tiny fraction. That's the funnel concept, and you have to be able to provide value and get enough interest that then selling your service actually makes sense. I don't think of myself as a salesman. It's not really how I'm wired. I think of myself as a trusted advisor. And the more educational content, the more value that I can provide on my social media pages that do all link back to a home website, whether it's educational content on Instagram or Facebook or blog or whatever the case may be. There are a number of platforms where you can have success. If that can provide value, because people can get stuff for free now anywhere. And if it's just, here's my paywall, like Natalie had said, here's my paywall, sign up for my $2,000 service, good luck. But if you can generate that funnel and get that sort of interest and following at the very top, then all of a sudden feeding people to your actual monetary services become much easier.
I love it. Devon, I'm going to ask you the next question. How do I distinguish myself as an expert in an overly saturated market? How do you distinguish yourself with there being so many people out there?
Right. This may sound like a cliche answer, but literally no one is better at being you than you are. So you have to find the one thing that you're really good at. So if you're really good at, if you're a mom and you're really good at managing your time as being a mom or being a parent, if you're someone there's a parent, if you're really good at managing your time, there's a lot of parents, there are a lot of people just like you that are in that space that feel like I get it all the time from my clients. I'm not a parent yet, but I'm sure that if I could speak to that, I would even build a deeper connection with them, and it's a niche that it is a niche, but I'm sure, but there are millions of other people that are just like you out here, and that's how you differentiate yourself. You really, buckle down and hone in on what your skill set is, who do you connect with the most? You can just ask yourself, you can just do an audit of yourself and, hey, ask yourself, what are you really good at? What skill set do I have right now? And, what clientele do I connect with the most? And I think that is the most important thing. I think too many people, especially nowadays, look at what's going on with everyone else, and we have to really block out the noise and get super focused, laser focused in on, what our clientele, who our clientele is, where do they show up, what sites are they on, things like that. What type of things do they like? Are they going to be more attracted to posts of six packs, or are they going to be more attracted to posts of like home cooked meals and family time? So those things are really, really important. Getting laser focused and getting specific about who our clientele is and who we are as people as well, because you can lose that in trying to service everyone. So get really focused on who you're trying to service. A lot of times you'll find that person is, a person just like yourself.
I love that. And Natalie, how do you think people can distinguish themselves, especially marketing with, it's being oversaturated? Like all of us are very different. And I think we all probably use very different tools to market ourselves as individuals.
Well, I'll tell you what worked for me, to my surprise. And I'm not sure that I was okay with this or not, because there were some people that never paid attention to me, did not even say hi or anything. And all of it, so then overnight, I was not a better person or better trainer, but I became an international #1 best-selling author. And all of a sudden, hey, Nat, how are you? And hey, and everybody wanted to be with me and train with me and be in my classes and all this. And I have to say that being an expert, if you are an author, you are an authority. on this topic, right? So being an author is being an authority. It's much easier now than back in my days when I wrote my first book, to become a published author. You can self-publish. You don't even have to have a paperback copy anymore. You can just have an ebook. And how do you do that? Just blog once a week or once a month. And after 26 blogs, you have the 26 steps to blah, blah, blah. And you put all that in a book. You can record your videos. You can, if you record small little videos every week on a topic, then you get them transcribed on rev.com. You get the transcription, you put all that in a book, and all of a sudden you've got your book. It's not that complicated to become an author. And some people are like, oh my gosh, there's no way I can write a book. You can write a book in 30 days. And the other thing you want to do, the other thing that I did is I started increasing my price and the way I would talk about my price. So it's very important that you practice out loud when you talk about your fee, right? So if somebody asks you, oh, you charge, and you're like, well, you know, it's 70 per hour, but I can go with 50. I have a special right now for 30. Actually, I'll train you for free, right? We're just like so uncomfortable talking about our price. So just put your foot down and say, I charge $300 per hour. And I know that I give value for my services. And I had to practice, right? And when I changed my fee from 80 to 100, and from 100 to 150, and to 150 to 200, you have to practice out loud and start saying how much you charge, and start getting your testimonials say what you want to say. Like lots of people, like my clients, I know what they say about me. Natalie, she's the best, but she's very expensive, if you can even get her. That's what I want people to say about me. Not Natalie, she's the cheapest, and then she always has room, and then she can train you from 5 a.m. until midnight because she's really hungry for business. No, Natalie, she's the best, if you can even get her, but she's very expensive. So position yourself as being that person, and start saying what you charge, and be okay with that, and start practicing to say it instead of saying I charge 150 per hour. Start saying it in a very confident way, because confidence pays. There's lots of Pilates instructor that I know, they charge $100 to $200 per hour for a math class, $200 per hour, and their schedules are full. So you can do it too. Just letting you know.
Love it, love it, love it. Alex, how do you differentiate yourself or your club from the pack?
So I think that Natalie and Devon have both sort of touched on this. I tend to look at it in two steps. First is you actually have to have expert knowledge, right? There are so many pretenders in this day and age, especially on social media, and that doesn't last. Eventually people will catch on, and the whole point is a repeat customer base. Once you get a client, you want to keep them. And if you're trying to feed them snake oil, well, good luck constantly signing new clients every month or two. That's too expensive and wastes too much time compared to being able to grow basically a culture of people who are fans of what you're doing. So that experience has to be there. You have to actually put your money where your mouth is and have an understanding of how to provide a solid service. And the sort of second side that especially Natalie did a great job of talking about is finding your voice. That's the way that Russell Brunson describes it, who's actually I see Natalie nodding, who's a funnel expert. You have to write about it, read about it, post about it, talk about it. The more often you are creating blog articles, ebooks, PDFs, Instagram posts, the better you're going to understand that content as well. Teaching, it sounds silly, but teaching someone else this information is one of the best ways to learn it and ingrain it yourself. And there's a lot of hesitancy to get things out there, whether it's perfectionism or procrastinating or just fear of criticism or something. Just get it out there. Start writing about the things that you're passionate about, and that will shine through.
And you guys, this is the perfect time to do it. Summer's right around the corner. If you do not write on social media or somewhere about summer, 5 tips to get you ready for the summer, anything regarding the summer, you guys, we have got to jump in on that. And that's also your tool to get clients right now. Listen, 3 months, give me 3 months to change your body. Be consistent. And you guys, we have to also, you're going to get a lot of people that book with you that don't show up. You have to have a policy that you have to stick with, no matter what the excuse is. But I agree with everything they're saying. They're giving you a lot of good ideas. But remember this, we are opening back up. You know, team teach with somebody that's popular in your club or a trainer. Collaborate. Bring in a charity. Do a parking lot workout or a training workout with a charity. It'll go to their mailing list. It'll go to your mailing list. If you do it in a place that has a parking lot, they'll send it to their mailing list. It's really working outside the box a little bit, but it's all free promotions you can do. I'm not a writer. I hate to write, but I made myself write a column every month for my local newspaper, a fitness column. And guess what, guys? They're looking for information. If you reach out to your paper right now and you said, I'm a fitness instructor, I want to write a column about tips for the summer. You have to do it for free at first, but guess what? You can get it in there. They're looking for something inside their magazines and their newspapers, okay? TV shows, local TV shows that are in the news, they're looking for stuff. Listen, I'm Jeff Howard, I'm new in town. I've got some tips I'd love to give you for the summer. Or pools are opening up. Let me show you a healthy way to work out in a pool. Making yourself a leader, it's a hustle, but guess what? You can do it. We've all done it. We've all had to make ourselves uncomfortable to be comfortable. Natalie, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I love what you just said, Jeff, about going out there and then positioning yourself as somebody that can help. And the key is to know and track your numbers, because once you know your number, everything that you're going to do for free, you're going to have a draw. Okay, so have something to win. And if, like, I usually win for some of my books, if you don't have a book, just bring some Starbucks cards, anything. Okay, so have a draw, and then make sure that you track your numbers. So every time I would have a draw, I would find out that there would be on my coupon, I would actually write, I want to be included to win the books, checkbox. And then I would write down, I want to book a free 15-minute session or a 30-minute session with Natalie there. And then I would say, I want to sign up for Natalie's motivational news for the weekly newsletter. And then they would check. So then you track your numbers. 76% of people wanted to get onto my motivational news. That's great. 96% of people wanted to win the thing that and so that means that 4 people didn't. Out of 100 people, 4 people didn't even want to win the thing. And it's okay. You have to be okay with your number, because once you start tracking, you realize that these are okay number. 40% of people wanted to sign up for a free session with me. Only 40%, but that's great. And then out of these 40 people out of 100 that wanted to have the free session, I would send them the link, go book a time at your convenience. Only 20 would sign up. Knowing that these 20 people that would actually have a free session with me, I will assign 6 people. Those are my numbers. Those are my stats. So out of a crowd of 100 people, I signed 6 people with a package of $1,000 with me. Okay. So knowing this, people would ask me, I'm a professional speaker, so people would ask me to come and speak at the Calgary Woman Show, and they didn't want to pay me. I charged $5,000 for my keynote, but they didn't have a budget. So I said, okay, I'll come. However, I want to be on the Sunday afternoon after the Fireman's Fashion Show, where there's 300 women on the around the stage, and I will present Think Yourself Thin. Then I want to have a booth beside so that I can chat with people after. And 300 people meant 6%, because I've tracked my numbers. I know my numbers. 6% of 300 people, it's 18. 18 people will sign up a package with me because I'll have a draw. I'll have all these coupons, and 18 people at $1,000 per package. It's $18,000. Did I speak for free? No, I didn't. And if somebody asks you to come and do the warm up for the marathon of whatever, or the 15K or whatever, you put your hand up, you go, and then you have a draw. Because if there's 1,000 people and then you have a draw there, then maybe your 6% will mean 180 people that will sign up for your thing, right? So you want to know and track your numbers.
And I want to just add on that, June 1st is right around the corner. Start a competition with the people you're training. Tag me. Do a picture of me and you together on Zoom and put it on your page, your personal page. And then as the person giving away the prize, you start to count. How many pictures did they post? How many people tagged where you're training with, who you're training with? and then you give them a nominal gift. But you'll be surprised. As soon as they put it on their pages, people are like, well, who's Jeff? Who's Devon? Who's Natalie? They're gonna start asking who this person is. That can feed your business. That's so easy, guys. And your tribe already loves you. So they want to do that. Okay. I'm going to move on to a question for you, Mr. Alex. You ready?
Sure.
Should I focus on a niche population or training for the general public?
So that's a great question. I'd of course say it depends. I'm going to use another Russell Brunson analogy. He likes to use the analogy of the ocean, right? And something like a specialty niche where there's not a lot of people going, not a lot of interest, is a very blue water, right? There's fish in there, but you're not quite sure what's going on there. And you might be the only fisherman, but you might also not catch any fish. General population is then very red waters, lots of sharks, lots of people who want a piece of that. And of course, general population, especially basically SCW's membership, female 40 plus, is the most, at least one of, if not the most lucrative industry, but everybody wants in. So can you distinguish yourself there? Can you start a niche and then broaden out from there? It's hard to say because it's going to depend on authentically what you enjoy, who you like working with, what knowledge or area of expertise you have. For myself personally, we really started with a big emphasis on combat sports, so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, mixed martial arts, et cetera, and have really expanded from there, sort of owning a niche to be able to have a sort of home base of not just a website or not just a funnel, but also content area, books, research to be able to post about, and then really looking to expand from there. So I have personally established a niche, but it was certainly a challenge of even convincing jiu-jitsu athletes that they needed to strength train in the first place. So there are certainly pros and cons to both, but both can be accomplished and accomplished well.
I love it. And Devon, what do you think?
I think that someone just starting out can go one of two ways. If you're already a veteran type of trainer, you may be looking to move into another population. Just like in the first scenario with the person just starting out, it's just going to take time to become that voice, like Natalie said, like Alex said as well, to gain the knowledge in that new niche area. But I think for someone starting out, I would probably say to start general. If you don't have anyone, it's like let's just start. Like Natalie said, just get started. Don't think about oh well, who should I work with? Should I write a plan? Like just get started. More than likely, you're not going to train anyone that is above the level that you currently are at. So I think that's also a thought that stops a lot of people. Train someone at the level that you're on, at the knowledge base that you have as well. If I'm just starting out, I've never been an athlete before. I'm not going to, someone comes to me, is like, hey, I want to run my first marathon, and you don't really have the knowledge base or the experience or the knowledge, it's going to be really hard to do that. So I would say to train at the level that you're on, start at the general population, and slowly you'll start to find your way into a niche, or a niche will find you.
I love that. I love that, Alex. Natalie, do you want to add anything there? You kind of nailed that one, but go ahead.
It totally did. There's two things that we have to look at when we're thinking about a niche, is who you want to work with and what do you want to do, because sometimes it's two different things. So Alex mentioned, well, I work with people that are in martial arts. Well, I do martial art. That's the thing that you do. So it's the door that you pick martial art. And who are you going to train as well? So there's two different things. So is this, you're doing a quick 30-minute workout with women after they had kids? Or so choose the two different areas. So what it is that you want to focus on, what you specialize in, and for who is your favorite client. And I love what Devon said, that you don't have to know this to start, because it's by training people. And one day you'll find your favorite client and you'll be like, oh, if all my clients were like this, that's when you say, okay, that's my niche. I really, really love working with that person. And that's when you're going to start establishing your brand. And that's when you're going to have that consistent message that will constantly talk to that person. You'll constantly talk to the woman after they had kids, and all your marketing is going to be done around that. But you need to train a whole bunch of people to figure out that that's your favorite person to work with. So start with working out with training with a lot of different people to figure out which one's your favorite, and then create your brand around it and have a consistent message around this and attract those.
I love that. I love that, because hopefully you can get to the state where I'm a firm believer in this. If then you look at your book of who you're going to train and you go like this, for one person, because you just don't enjoy training them, that's okay to fire them, because you can get someone else in there. It might take some time to do that, but I never want you to, because it's just no fun then. It's still got to be enjoyable. I think we all said that basically what we're all saying is being authentic. If you're authentic to what you do and what you know, it'll read true and the business will feed itself. We are actually out of time, but before we leave, I would love everyone to finish with just a passing word for our new trainers that are out there. Give them some advice. Devon, do you want to go first?
My advice is to get started. You'll definitely figure it out along the way. Have a goal in mind for yourself, whether that's a number for you, whether it's knowing your numbers, like what Natalie said, or knowing the type of clientele that you want to have. Have a goal in mind for yourself. If you know that this is something you want to do as a full-time job, a career, you love it, have fun with it. You know, throughout all of this, you definitely want to be happy doing what you do, right? Because that's when you get the best enjoyment of it. You're going to give your all to it. Your clients are going to see that and reciprocate that same type of energy. So get started, have fun doing it, and you'll figure it out all along the way.
Alex?
Two little ones. Say yes. Different opportunities are going to come around, and what's the worst thing that happens? It wasn't a great experience. It's always better than not doing it at all. You know, even if it's like Natalie said, for free, oftentimes will wind up being amazing opportunities. The second will be read. Find other experts who have already been there before, who have active blogs, who write, who summarize research for you, etc. And check out what those folks are doing, because while you do have to find your own authentic niche, imitation is also the sincerest form of flattery when you're getting started.
I love that. And before Natalie finishes up, I want my other two co-hosts to put in your information so they can reach out to you if they'd like to. Speaking of mentoring, so if you guys could fill that in. And Natalie, what was your closing words for this beautiful group of people that are listening?
We're all reading the same book, and we sometimes feel that we're never ready to start, like especially if you're a new trainer. You can always help the person that's at chapter 2 if you're at chapter 3, even if you're not finished reading the book, and it's fine. There's always somebody that you can help. So it doesn't matter. Sometimes we get intimidated and we're like, oh, I can't train like these like elite athletes. It doesn't matter. You can train your neighbor though. You can train my mom. You can try, right? There's a lot of people that you are on the next level. So you're always one level ahead of somebody, and you're always one level behind somebody else. We're all reading the same book. I haven't finished reading the book at all, and I still help the people that I've got one chapter on them, and that's how it works. So just get out there, and then you got this. You got this.
I don't think anybody could say it any better than the three people that just spoke to you guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I want to thank my panel. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot. I'm very impressed that none of us had background artwork like Natalie.
Not at all. I was a little jealous, honestly. That was beautiful, Natalie. I just want to say.
I was like, wow. Anyway, guys, make sure you get our information on the sides. Don't forget, SCW is this weekend. It's still not too late to register for it. Thursday, there's not a webinar, but it starts back with Sarah next Tuesday. Once again, I want to thank Devon, Natalie, and Alex for your time tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. Remember, this is recorded. Have a good night, guys.